Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Here I am going to start Geography Chapter 3, Weather and Climate. Listen to the explanation, follow it with 100% attention. The portions that are included in syllabus are ticked. Please mark those in your book. Read the chapter thoroughly, prepare insight questions. Now let's start from page 26, Chapter 3, Weather and Climate. Weather greatly affects our life. Cultivation also depends on weather conditions, and the natural disasters are also influenced by weather conditions. By natural disaster, I mean flood, snowstorms, famines, cyclones, etc. Weather is a very commonly used term, but there is difference between weather and climate. Let's read. Weather is the day-to-day or short-term state of the atmosphere. It can be hot, it can be cold, wet or dry, calm or stormy, clear or cloudy. So this weather phenomena occur in the lowest part of the atmosphere. But climate is the average of the weather conditions for a particular region observed over a period of not less than 30 years. So, precipitation, temperature, humidity, sunshine, velocity, fog, frost, hail, storms, all the phenomena of weather are observed and studied over a long period of time, not less than 30 years, before stating the climate of a particular place. So it is the average of the weather conditions for a particular region over a period not less than 30 years. But weather varies, weather changes from day to day, from time to time in all places. It can be hot, cold, wet or dry. So this is the difference between weather and climate. Now let us move to page 27. On top you see elements of weather and measuring instruments. The different elements of weather are temperature, atmospheric pressure, rainfall, moisture, wind speed, wind direction, clouds and sunshine. Now let us read about this. First come temperature. What is temperature? Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness in the air. So temperature of the atmosphere also varies between day and night and from season to season. During the day we feel quite hot. During night the temperature falls. And in the winter season we find the temperature is quite low, we feel cold. In the summer it's just the opposite. So temperature is nothing but the degree of hotness or coldness. So if any short question comes from this, I hope you can reply. If you read thoroughly, everything will be easy to you and you will all be able to answer them correctly. Now, next question is how we can measure temperature. There must be some process and instruments. Let us read about that. A thermometer is the instrument which is used for measuring temperature. Please learn the correct spellings when you learn this type of short informations. Now, temperature is also measured in two scales, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit, freezing point of water is 32 degree Fahrenheit and boiling point is 212. And the centigrade or Celsius scale, freezing point is 0 and boiling point is 100. But in India, we mainly follow the Celsius scale for measuring temperature. Then comes the thermometer. In thermometer, we use mercury for measuring. Mercury is the liquid which expands with a rise in temperature and contracts with fall in temperature. So when temperature rises or increases, the liquid mercury expands. And when temperature falls, it contracts. 6 maximum and minimum thermometer is a type of thermometer which is used to record the maximum and minimum temperature every day. So in the weather stations, where all weather phenomena are observed and marked and these data are recorded, there you will find that this type of thermometers are installed, which measures the daily temperature. Then there are various process of calculations. This process of calculations are not included this time. As you can see, I have not ticked. The portions that I have ticked, only those are included. You can mark it in your book. So there are various process. There are various calculations also, which I am not going into detail as these are not in syllabus. Like mean daily temperature, I am just telling you the name. Daily or diurnal range of temperature, mean monthly temperature, mean monthly range of temperature, mean annual temperature, annual range of temperature. These are the various process of calculating the temperature. But I am not going into the detail of the formulas as Council has not placed it in syllabus. Next you come to page 29, the topic air pressure. This is included. The air exerts pressure on us from all directions. But we don't feel it, but it exerts pressure. So how can we define air pressure? We can define air pressure as the pressure exerted by the weight of column of air on 1 centimeter square area on the Earth's surface. We know that atmosphere is a layer of air. So this layers of air exerts some pressure on us. So a column of air vertically, it exerts some pressure, and the pressure that this vertical column of air exerts on 1 centimeter square area is called the Earth's atmospheric pressure. Now this atmospheric pressure also varies from place to place and from time to time. Like if we go up as we ascend, that means if we go to the high altitude places, then the air pressure decreases greatly. So when we move on top of the mountains, many of you have visited the hilly places, hilly areas, mountainous regions. There the atmospheric pressure is low because when we go to the top, air pressure reduces. With great altitude, with height, with altitude, pressure greatly decreases. But when we are at the sea level, normal plane surface, air pressure is highest at the sea level, which is 1013 MB. MB is millibar. This is the unit of measurement. Hence, there will be low pressure on the mountains or at any high altitude. Let us move to the next page, page 30. On top you see, the air pressure varies from place to place and from time to time it is affected by temperature, altitude and Earth's rotation. So air pressure is not the same everywhere. It varies because air pressure depends on temperature, altitude and Earth's rotation. The movement of air is also affected by temperature and pressure difference. We all know that wind is the horizontal movement of air. Now why this horizontal movement takes place? This movement takes place because there is a difference in temperature which affects the movement of air. So movement of air is greatly affected by this temperature and pressure difference. Warm air expands and it rises up, and therefore it creates low pressure. So temperature and pressure are indirectly proportional, not directly but indirectly. That means if temperature is high, pressure is low, and if pressure is high, which pressure? Atmospheric pressure. Don't think that it is blood pressure. That is different. That is a topic of biology, not geography. Here pressure means atmospheric pressure, and pressure and temperature are inversely, indirectly proportional. Proportionate. Why? Because indirectly proportionate means if temperature is high, pressure is low. If atmospheric pressure is high, then temperature is low. Cold air, cold air is very heavy. It sinks down and it creates high pressure. But when air is heated up, it rises up and it creates low pressure. And remember one thing, that air always moves from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. This is very, very important. Air never moves from low pressure to high pressure, but from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. This is one of the important concept of geography, basic concept of geography. And if you don't know, if your concept is not clear, in the higher classes you will fall in trouble. You won't be understand and you will all keep on learning and mugging up. But it is better and easier if you know the concept that temperature and atmospheric pressure is inversely proportional and air always moves from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. Next, measuring air pressure. How can we measure? There are some specific instruments which are used. Like for measuring temperature, thermometer is used. Similarly, barometer is used to measure air pressure or atmospheric pressure. The unit of measurement, the unit of measuring air pressure is millibar. The short form is MB. In the previous page you read that air pressure, atmospheric pressure is highest at the sea level, which is 1013 MB. MB is millibar. It is the unit. There are actually two types of barometers. That is mercury barometer and aneroid barometer. These are the two types of barometers used for measuring air pressure. An aneroid barometer is nowadays preferred because it does not contain mercury and therefore it is very easy to carry aneroid barometer from one place to the other. It is portable. It consists of a metal box and there is partial vacuum inside and a flexible wall which expands and contracts. Now this is in case of a mercury barometer, but an aneroid barometer, I told you that it does not contain any mercury, so it is portable. Sorry, I missed the line. Aneroid barometer consists of a metal box. There is partial vacuum and it is flexible. The wall expands and contracts with change in air pressure. And the pointer is there which indicates the pressure accordingly. And in the automatic barometer, there is a barograph. Barograph automatically records atmospheric pressure on a graph paper. Next is humidity. The moisture content present in the air at any time is known as humidity. The amount of water vapor, amount of moisture. When the air is full of water vapor, it is called saturated. Why saturated? Because it can hold no more water in it. It is saturated, absolutely full. The capacity of water of holding moisture is full when it reaches this saturation point. Humidity also varies greatly from place to place and from time to time. The actual amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere is known as absolute humidity. Exact actual amount that the air can hold is known as absolute humidity. It is closely related to air temperature, and in weather recordings, relative humidity is recorded. Relative humidity is the ratio between the actual amount of water vapor present and the total amount of vapor that the air can hold at a given temperature. Actual amount of water vapor means the water vapor that or the moisture that the air is holding or the air can hold at present. And the relative humidity which is recorded is the ratio between the actual amount of water vapor present in the air at that time and the total amount of water vapor that the air can hold at a particular given temperature. So remember students that relative humidity is always expressed in percentage. No other unit is used but in percentage, because this is a ratio. In ratio, you will never find any unit. In mathematics also you have done ratio proportion. You use the two dots, but there is no unit. You don't write any kilometer, centimeter like this in ratio proportion. So when it is a ratio, it is expressed in percentage and not in any unit. Then measuring humidity. How humidity is measured? There are two instruments to record humidity: wet and dry bulb thermometer and a hygrometer. In a wet and dry bulb thermometer, a large difference between the two thermometer means low relative humidity, and a small difference means high relative humidity. There are two types of thermometer kept inside, one is wet and one is dry. So when it shows great difference, the difference between the two thermometer, when it is very high, then it is low relative humidity. But when the difference is small between the two thermometers, then the relative humidity is high. And hygrometer is an automatic instrument which is used nowadays to measure humidity. And there are various types of hygrometer available. Then is the precipitation. The moisture that comes down to the earth's surface is called the precipitation. Rain, hailstorm, sleet, snow, all these are forms of precipitation. And what are the various instruments? Rainfall is measured in rain gauge. This diagram also you have to practice. It is given here. The leveling and diagram. Practice it nicely. Use scale, sharpened pencil. And remember students that a rain gauge is always placed in an open place and at a certain height. Not at the ground level, but at a certain height. And it is kept away from the trees, buildings or other objects which can obstruct the rainfall to avoid rain splash. Because it actually measures the exact amount of rainfall. No droppings of rainwater from the trees is allowed, because this will give an incorrect reading, no? You must have heard the weather reports in news. They say that this millimeter or this centimeter of rainfall occurred today. So this measurement they do, this type of measurements are carried on in the weather stations with the help of these instruments like rain gauge. And the readings are generally taken once in every 3 hours at a fixed time, so that the measurement is correct. On page 31, next page, again the calculations of rainfall is given, various process and calculation formulas. ICSE has not included. I am just telling you the name. Total daily rainfall, total monthly rainfall, mean monthly, total annual rainfall, mean annual rainfall. But I am not going into detail as it is not included in syllabus by ICSE this time. Let us now turn to page 32. See the topic wind. The moving air is called wind. The sun does not heat up the surface of the earth evenly, that is uniformly. That means in all places or all the places on earth are not heated up uniformly, because there are differences in air pressure in different areas. Wherever this difference occurs, air rushes from high to low pressure area, because you have read that air always moves from high pressure areas to low pressure areas, which results in a definite horizontal movement of air, and this horizontal movement of air is called wind. And remember this concept that wind always blows from high pressure areas to low pressure areas. Finding directions and measuring speed. A wind vane is an instrument which is used to find the direction of wind. There are some rotating arrows, and there is a vertical rod, straight rod, along with which the arrows are attached, and a wind vane has pointed end called the arrow, and there is a broad end called the tail, and the arrow always points to the direction in which the wind is blowing. So in the weather stations, this wind vanes, anemometer, all these things are installed, and by observing the direction of movement, they come to know that in which direction the wind is moving. And wind is always named after the direction from which it blows. Suppose if the wind blows from the west to the east, as it is blowing from the west, so it is called westerly. And wind vanes are always placed in open area which is free from any obstruction, so that the correct direction is found. So wind vane is used for finding the direction. From which direction? From east or west or north or south? From which direction the wind is blowing? And next is anemometer. Anemometer is used for measuring the speed, the force of the wind. With what force? There are 3 or 4 horizontal arms which are fixed with a vertical spindle, and there are some metal cups. From the picture, this is the anemometer. You see there are some cups. You don't have to practice this diagram, but for demonstration I have shown you so that you can understand that how the anemometer looks like. It records the speed of the wind in kilometers or knots. Knots is the unit of measurement, kilometer per hour. Knots per hour is kilometer per hour, which shows or records the speed or force of wind. Nowadays, an anemometer is used to measure and record wind speed on a graph paper. And the speed of wind is also measured on Beaufort scale. Sir Francis Beaufort, he for the first time discovered this Beaufort scale. On page 33, there is a orange color chart. Depending on the speed of the wind, different names are given. And what are the conditions that are also given in the chart. So this chart you can read so that you understand. Hurricanes, you know, these are strong winds. It moves with great velocity. 119 plus is the speed. Whereas calm breeze is even less than 2 km per hour, their speed. So this is how these things, the names are given and the speed of the different winds are given in the chart. Next you have the clouds. Condensation